Hey, friends, welcome back for a new episode of the My Impossible podcast. Today, I welcome Justin LaVigne. Justin is a freelance writer and mountain guide based in Alaska with his wife. He's backpacked over 7,000 miles, has road tripped across America over 40 times, and has climbed 46 out of the 50 highest peaks in the United States, including Denali twice. And the new addition to his resume is he's on my team to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in 2025. In this conversation, Justin shares vulnerably and openly, in a way, his impossible journey. His is a health battle, and he'll unfold that in this conversation. Who Justin is to me is desire and belief. He sees life as something to be lived and not to shrink back from, and to believe in himself and the beauty of the world. And he boldly steps into that in everything that he does. I'm excited that Justin's on our Kilimanjaro team, and I think you're really going to enjoy this podcast conversation. Justin, welcome to the show, brother. I am so excited to have you. Been looking forward to this.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. I appreciate being on the show. I appreciate being part of the team, and I'm excited to talk. A little nervous, excited though. Yeah.
Awesome. So with that, what is or was your impossible?
So my impossible is still with me. It is something that I've had my whole life. And it kind of started when I was a child, and I was always very sick as a child. I always had stomach problems, had problems going to the bathroom, eating different types of food. And then in my teens, my mom decided, it's time to see what's going on. She took me to a doctor. Doctors couldn't figure out. Another doctor couldn't figure out. Maybe it's a lactose problem. Let's try that. Let's see. And so doctor after doctor, finally, one doctor decided and figured out what was going on and diagnosed me with a condition called Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease, which affects your digestive system. It affects your eating, going to the bathroom, and very much is a mental disease. And it's actually something that I don't talk about and I hide. And I've hid my whole life, probably up until about maybe the last 5 or 6 years. I kind of have not hidden it as much, but it's something I don't talk about. It's a hidden disease, so no one knows I'm sick unless they see me, being sick. But so in my teens, I got diagnosed with this, and then it was like, let's put them on high doses of prednisone, which is absolutely something terrible to be on. Affects your weight, your attitude, your everything like that. And so high school was pretty much a disaster for me. I was constantly sick, trying to fit in with all these people. I went to a private boys' school, so, a lot of pressures there, and always being sick and trying to hide this, not only from the friends I had, the friends I wanted to have, the friends, I kind of want to be friends with, hiding it from teachers, hiding it from just about everyone, even trying to hide it from my mom and from my sisters who I live with. And so it's really difficult in my teens, but finally kind of got it under control. And in my 20s and through college, I was on and off meds, but I was kind of under control. But I'm a very active person, and I like to do crazy things and go exploring. And so I've always had this dream in my mind that I wanted to thru hike the Appalachian Trail. And I thought, this is something really I want to do. How am I going to do that with taking meds all the time and carrying meds and problems of what am I going to eat? Can't have gluten, can't have dairy, can't have nuts, can't have things like that. So this is pretty much what hikers eat. But I pushed through it, and I thru hiked the Appalachian Trail, and I thought, this was an unbelievable thing that I did. I did it with my wife, and what really I kind of liked about it is I was out in nature, and nature is kind of my home. Nature is my therapy. It really makes me feel better about myself and about what I'm doing. And yeah, did I get sick? I got sick at times, and had to go to the bathroom a lot. But nature is a pretty good place to go to the bathroom because you just can pull off the trail, dig a hole, and do your business. And so I was like, wow, this is great. So then I started thinking about doing some other things. I was like, I want to start climbing. I want to learn how to climb. And when I was in grad school in 2002, I came up to Alaska to do my research in Denali National Park. And it was there that I saw this mountain, Denali, and I was like, this thing is unbelievable. And I was like, someday I want to climb that. But at that point in my life, I didn't know what a rope was, an ice axe, a crampon. I didn't even know what any of that was. I grew up in New Jersey. We climbed 100 feet here and 200 feet there, and that was it. So after I did the Appalachian Trail and some time, I decided, I want to start getting into climbing. So I started climbing in the lower 48 and went to school, Carras Rescue School, climbed in the North Cascades a lot, Mount Hood, Mount Rainier. Had a goal of trying to climb every high point in every state. And so some of them were quite easy, some of them were a little difficult, and trained and trained and trained. Eventually wanted to go climb Denali. But before that, let me back up a little bit. I thought, after I did the Appalachian Trail, let's try to bump it up and try to do some other things. So my wife and I actually went over in New Zealand, and we thru-hiked in New Zealand a 2,000-mile trail over there and did that one too. And I guess, again, very sick, up and down, on meds, off meds. But this whole Denali thing and this whole climbing thing and living outside and being outside is something I really wanted to do. I live a very atypical life. We lived in a van for 10 years, traveling all over the United States. I've lived in a Subaru for 2 years. Right now I live in a small 300 square foot cabin in the middle of Alaska, in the middle of nowhere with actually no plumbing. But to back it up, to talk about this Denali dream I had and making this reality, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so 2016, I'm prepping for Denali. I'm getting ready for Denali, not only physically and mentally, but just like trying to wrap myself around this. Like, how am I going to do this? And so about maybe 2-3 weeks before I was climbing Denali, I went for my regular colonoscopy, when I used to get those a lot. I probably have the record in the United States for the most colonoscopies, but the doctor saw a lot of inflammation and said, all right, I need to do a CAT scan. So they did a CAT scan. They said, something's not right. You got something going on down there. We can't even tell, but we need to open you up. We need to see what's going on, and we need to do this now. And I said, Doc, I'm leaving in, I don't know, 2 weeks, a week or two, something like that. I'm going up to Denali. I'm going to go climb. And he said, no, you're not doing that. That's going to be impossible. You can't do that. That's not possible. You're sick. You have the shooting pain down your leg from some nerve damage. Your stomach's a mess. You're on all these meds. You can't go climb. And I was like, well, I can, and I'm gonna do this. And he said, well, I want to tell you, you certainly could get sick. Things could go downhill. You certainly might not come back from this. And I said, well, this is what I want to do. I'm going to try it. So I spent 23 days on Denali battling everything from terrible weather to winds to snow to negative 50-degree temperatures to trying to figure out what I'm going to eat and how am I going to go to the bathroom when it's negative 40 out and the winds are blowing 60 miles per hour. And so, Crohn's very much is a mental disease too. So I'm trying to battle through this, trying to climb this mountain, trying to not let my teammates know that I'm sick. So none of them knew. I wouldn't tell them. And I did quite well. We were up there for 23 days. Actually didn't summit, turned back about 300 feet from the top, so just about 20,000 feet. There was all different things going on. Some of it was mental, some of it was my stomach, but some of it was also the weather. It just wasn't feasible. So got back down off the mountain and went to see my doctor, I don't know, a couple of weeks later or something like that. And he's like, well, he was really like, I can't believe you made it, this and that, this and that. And I was like, I don't really have much confidence in you, so I'm going to go see another doctor. So I went and saw another doctor, and that doctor said, yeah, you absolutely need surgery. We need to go in now. So it's when I told all my friends. Some of them knew that I was sick, but my close, tight-knit friends like Luke, who's on the team here, he kind of knew. But I told all my friends, listen, I'm going some surgery. I don't know what's going to happen. And the doctor's like, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. Surgery, we'll go in there, hopefully an hour or two. We'll get this all cleaned up. We'll get some of this inflammation out of you. Well, close to 9 hours later, they came out and they said to my wife and my mom, they're like, it was the worst we've ever seen. And unfortunately, we couldn't do much. We got some out, but we had to put on a colostomy bag. And so for those of you who don't know what a colostomy bag, that is basically instead of going bathroom the normal way, you have a bag on the front of your stomach and you actually go to the bathroom out of that. And they said, we're going to see how this does for a couple months and monitor them. So they did that, and they said, but you need more surgery, and we can't do it. This surgeon said, I've hit my top. You need to go to the Cleveland Clinic. You need to find a doctor that can do this. So after eventually seeing more doctors and everything, we found a doctor that said, I can go in there and see what's really going on. And we went in there, and he said, those doctors did a great job. But, after I think that surgery was about 6 hours, he said, we actually found that your sacrum has infused to your spine, and that you've got so much inflammation around your spine. They called in the spinal surgeon and did some work. And I woke up still with the colostomy bag. And I was like, ah. And he said, listen, you're going to have this on for another couple months. Well, 2 years later, I still had this on. But through those 2 years, I said, you know what? Screw this. It's not going to bother me. I'm going to do this. And I actually worked for a company called Leave No Trace, where my wife and I traveled all over the United States in a Subaru. And we worked for Backpacker Magazine, where we traveled all over the United States teaching or doing speaking tours at REIs and talking about hiking New Zealand or hiking the Appalachian Trail in gear. And meanwhile, I'll be talking in front of 200 people and going to the bathroom in my bag, my colostomy bag. And so I was like, if I can do this, I think I can do some other things. So let me go climb Mount Hood. Sure, let me go climb Mount St. Helens. Let me try to do this. And so I did all of that, and eventually, 2 years later, they were able to get rid of the colostomy bag. And they said, you're going to be okay for a little bit, but it's not really if you're going to get this back, it's when. So I'm trying to live life to my fullest. My impossible is still impossible every day. I'm very much an outdoorsy person. I'm a guide in Alaska. I take people backpacking and hiking all the time, and I still have to go to the bathroom all the time. I don't tell anyone. As I said, this is still very much hidden. My family and friends know now, a lot of them, because of what I was going through. I mean, I've had, 6 surgeries probably, if they've removed intestines, small intestines, large intestines, rectum, all of this stuff. And so it's still everyday battle, but I still push through this. And so then my buddy Luke said, hey, listen, we're going to go do this thing and climb Kilimanjaro. And I know you've been talking about climbing other mountains like Everest and Kilimanjaro, and, do you want to come? And I said, oh yeah, I'm in. Well, wait, I got to tell you something though. Well, tell me. It's not a regular climb. And I was like, oh yeah, I want a challenge. This is a challenge. And, I feel like, behind every strong person, there's a story that really gives them no choice. And so this is it. Everyone on this team has some type of impossible, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, anything like that. So, am I worried about climbing Kilimanjaro? Not at all. I know that we're going to have a very successful climb. We're going to get up and down very safe. Maybe we summit, maybe we don't. I'm more worried about the mental and my being sick in Africa and my stomach and what am I going to eat and all of this. Where am I going to go to the bathroom? Where can I dig my hole real quick? But that's something I think about all the time. There's not a day that I don't go outside and say, so where am I going? All right, I'm going on a plane. Okay, so I can't eat. Or I'm going on a backpacking trip. Okay, so I need to do this and this and this and think about my clients and, escape once in a while and go to the bathroom or do this. So my impossible is still a struggle every day. This is actually something I don't talk about. I've been a sponsored athlete through a lot of outdoor companies, done a lot of speaking tours all over the United States, done a lot of podcasts, but I don't really talk about this disease. It's not something I really open up about, but that's what this is about. That's what this expedition is about, is revealing our impossibles and all of us kind of supporting each other through this. And so that's kind of my impossible. It's pretty crazy. But everyone's impossible is kind of crazy.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good just to hear you let the shield down and to let me, everybody who's listening, know what is really going on. It goes without saying that this is an impossible and this is really hard. But I'm wondering, you've described Crohn's as a mental disease. You used that phrase a couple times. I'm wondering, what has been your mindset around your circumstance? Has it ever been a truly, well, this is impossible? Or has it just been, this is a thing and I'm going to deal with it and take on life and live and be alive? What take us a little bit more into that mental journey?
Yeah, and it is very mental, and my wife would say this, I am very ambitious, and I say, "I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it." She's like, "I don't know if you can do that or you should do that." And, there's some points that I shouldn't do some things, and has my impossible ever stopped me? It actually has. 4 months after a surgery, I decided, I'm gonna go climb Denali. And so second time, not the first time, set off to climb Denali. And it was way too early. And I should have known that, but I was stubborn and I was like, I can do this. I just got my bag taken off. I still have scars and I went and tried and I gave it my effort, but I finally realized, you know what, this is not safe just for me, but not safe for my teammates and stuff. So I need to come back down. So there are some points where I say, no, I can't do that. I think that's maybe the only time I've actually said, because of my health and because of the safety of the team and all of this, this is not possible right now, and I shouldn't have done this so early. But I mean, I do think about it. I lead backpacking trips here, and I take people out, and I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling the best, and I've had that happen, and I kind of push through it, and mentally, I always think that if I'm doing activity, I feel better. If I'm sitting on the couch and sitting there and thinking about this and complaining and being like, oh, why do I have to go to the bathroom? Or why can't I eat what you're eating? No, that's not going to get me through it. So I do think the activity really does help me and getting out. And I try not to let me down. I mean, 5 years of surgeries nonstop in and out of the hospitals it was terrible. And it was, I had a PICC line forever, where, it was tough, and it definitely beat me down. And, finally, I think, that's when I was like, I think I can do some things here. But, when we did these tours for Backpacker Magazine or Leave No Trace, I didn't talk about it during my tours. And I didn't talk about it much to my friends. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing disease, to have to run to go to the bathroom all the time. Something that no teenager, no kids want to grow up with, young adults, But now I got it, I embrace it, and I'm going to push through it, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep climbing. Achilles not my last one. I'm aiming for the 7 summits someday. We'll see.
It just strikes me, and maybe I've had this thought before, but it really is coming home as I'm listening to you, that something being truly impossible is a decision. It's a mindset. That whether it be Kilimanjaro, Denali, an ultramarathon, something within a lifestyle type thing, like going to college or a goal of some sort within your life, that nothing is impossible if you decide it's possible.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
there is always a way.
There's always a way. And your impossible could be, finished in college. But you don't need to do it in the 4 years that everyone else does it. Your impossible might be trying to, get this job. Or then your impossible might be trying to get on Kili. And, the whole goal of going to Kili is to bring us all together and for all of our impossibles, for us to push through them. And some of us might make it 5 steps. Some of them might make it, 3 steps, camp 2, camp whatever, 3. Some of us may make it to the top. Maybe none of us will, but as long as we all come back down and we feel that we've learned something and that we've pushed through this, that mountain's always going to be there. Denali, Kili, it's always going to be there. You can always go back to do that. College is going to be there, That job's going to be there. You can keep trying to get that job. I'm a big outdoorsy person, and there's this nonprofit called Leave No Trace, which is a nonprofit out of Boulder. And for years and years, I tried to get a job as a traveling trainer to travel all over the country and teach. And first 3 times I applied, my wife and I, we didn't get it. We didn't understand. We're writers for Backpacker Magazine. We have all this environmental education. I have a master's degree in environmental education. How come we're not getting this job, And it wasn't about us. It was about everyone else, there are certainly people more qualified, but eventually we proved to them, we're as qualified. And so we did that for 3 years. So there's a lot of things going on. And I just think, one thing I kind of think about a lot is, it's not what you accomplish in life, but it's kind of what you overcome in life. And so just kind of overcoming all these obstacles, I think makes people feel good. And I think all of us are going to feel great about going to Kili and doing this and bonding as a team. And yes, our goal is to get to the top, but I think my goal is for all of us to come down safely. And that's kind of it. And for all of us to have this experience, it's going to change our life. I mean, I spent 23 days on Denali and got 300-ish feet from the top and turned back. And it changed me. I thru hiked the Appalachian Trail. It changed me. I walked across New Zealand. It changed me. I mean, I'd live this lifestyle now where I don't work 9 to 5, sitting at a desk, pushing numbers, working for the man. I kind of do what I want to do. So I'm a hiking guide here. How am I a hiking guide when I'm always sick? Well, I push through it. It's something I want to do. And this is, we have a short time on this earth. So I'm going to try to battle my impossibles till I can't. There's going to be a time when I can't climb or hike or walk or eat this, Yeah.
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 Justin, there's a kid listening who has Crohn's disease. He's in high school. There's a single mom who is struggling and wants a better life or whatever their circumstances. What do you hope someone gets by hearing your story today?
Well, that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Whether you have Crohn's or cancer or whether you're in a wheelchair, you can do the impossible. Will it be hard? Yeah, it will be hard. But don't be ashamed and maybe look for more support and look for help. That's something I never did. I had no community. I didn't tell my teammates on Denali I was sick. I didn't tell my best friends in high school that I was sick. I didn't really have a community. So I think I would tell people, try to seek out other people maybe that is in the same circumstance. And I never did that till I was really, maybe in my early 40s, late 30s, kind of seeked out Crohn's support groups and just very lightly kind of went in and talked and learned some things and met people who had colostomy bags for 40 years and are doing even unbelievable things, So, I think I'd just tell people that you can do this and, try to look for support and try to look for help, something I didn't ever do. And now later in my life, I certainly am. And I'm not so bashful about talking about it. As I said, I don't talk about it a lot and, but the team needs to know. Everyone needs to know. Everyone has this impossible. And yeah, we'll see.
Justin, if folks want to hear more of your adventures and your work, where can they find you?
So, we have a website called wanderinglavignes.com, a blog called The Life Less Ordinary. As I said, when my wife and I quit our jobs in 2011, we quit our mainstream real jobs there. And we said, we're going to go through hike this Appalachian Trail. We thought, we do this for 6 months and then save 6 months and go back to the corporate world and do our big jobs and get that home and have those kids and that fancy car and do that. But when that Appalachian Trail changed us. And I think Crohn's changed me too, where I was like, I don't want to be miserable and have a job I don't like. So we embraced that lifestyle after the Appalachian Trail and I've never worked a 9-to-5 job in my life. I've done everything from teaching environmental education in the Jemez Mountains in New Mexico to managing a private island off the coast of Massachusetts to a teepee village in Oregon to working for Leave No Trace, working for Backpacker Magazine, Outside Magazine, Outdoor Life, writing gear reviews. If you want to learn more about what I do, if you want to come up to Alaska and do a stroll or do a hike, come stay in our yurt in the middle of nowhere. So it's thewanderinglavignes.com and a blog there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll put that in the show notes. And I know a couple of guys have already said when Kilimanjaro is over, they're getting in touch with, they're going to have some conversations with you about coming to Denali.
Yeah, yeah, and it's still, I mean, I'm 0 for 2 on Denali, but you know what? I'm 2 for 2 on coming down and being alive and being safe, and, that mountain's always there. Is it in the back of my mind? Yeah, yeah, and I definitely have one more in me. Um, but right now, my mind's set on Kilimanjaro and set on this team and set on, all of us being success, all of us supporting each other, and all of us kind of helping each other with their impossibles. And, you're gonna be as much as a help to me as I am to you. Yeah, our goal is to get you up there, but you're going to be the biggest support there too. Yeah, I would love to get you up there. I'd love to get myself up there. I'd love to get all of us up there, and hopefully that does happen. But we're all going to be supporting each other, regardless of what our impossibles are.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for being on the show. This is
Yeah,
really special.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.